Okay, everybody almost ready to start?
Yeah, I am. And I'm going to mute myself for now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just give like a 5-second countdown when you start.
Yep. Okay, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody and welcome to the Ezira Hangout Week 3 with your host Harrison McLean. We've got a few topics on this week's Hangout agenda and we'll just jump right into it. So the first topic that we have this week, as we do to start every week, is the introduction of what is Ezira. So Ezira is a distributed platform. It uses graphene blockchain software and delegated proof-of-stake consensus to record posts and transactions. Files are linked into IPFS, which are hosted on supernodes. Ezira is a social media platform where users can post any text or files to boards, profiles, and pages. Board posts are sorted according to votes and views and are stake weighted in Ezira and Ezira Power. Feeds are sorted by votes and views when received from a followed or connected account or a subscribed board. Premium content can be encrypted and can request a micropayment to decrypt it. Ezira will have a decentralized exchange. Trades between any user-issued assets and smart coins are possible with no trading fees when maker orders are used. Assets can receive revenue streams from specified sources directly. Ezira is a peer-to-peer marketplace where store owners that have business accounts will be able to list products for sale on a store page, and they'll be able to purchase items without any transaction fees. And small fees will be possible if a mediator is used to ensure that both parties complete the transaction successfully. So the next part of the Hangout agenda this week is the project updates. So we'll move on into the project updates. So this week in Ezira, we've had the Ezira Explainer video released on the Ezira YouTube channel. So the Ezira Explainer video titled Build Your Next World with Ezira has been released. This describes the Ezira project in an engaging and approachable way, and shortly we'll be watching it so that everyone can see what this video looks like, and so people can get a grip on what exactly the Ezira project is trying to achieve, and how we can put the message across to the wider crypto community. Ezira has had a press release on AMB Crypto, which describes how the project works to a new and wider audience. So there's the April community competition. So the community this week has made a great effort to post the latest Ezira use case graphics over Twitter and Facebook. The posts with the most likes and retweets today will win a share in 500 Ezira. So that'll go between the post with the most likes and retweets, which will win 300, and 100 each will go to 2 posts that will be selected on the basis of a creative response to the question, why is this your favorite Ezira infographic? Then we've had the work done on the business and application case. So work continues on the writing of a comprehensive outline of the applications and business models that will be possible on Ezira, and we'll be going through one of those in the featured application today. So next on the Hangout agenda is our narration of the Ezira outline and discussion about it. So for everyone here who's new to the Ezira project, each week we read out the Ezira outline so that everyone can gain an understanding of what it is that we're trying to build at Ezira with the Ezira outline. So we'll head over onto that. So Ezira offers everyone freedom, transparency, and community. It is a new platform to help everybody to share information and value freely. Ezira is a distributed social media and business platform. That means it will let everybody post anything they want to, trade any digital property, and create any digital businesses that they can imagine. Ezira is owned and operated by users. People that have powerful computers can earn rewards for running the Ezira network. Everybody that posts to Ezira will also earn rewards depending on the amount of votes they earn from their community of viewers. Ezira pays its users rewards using a special type of digital money called Ezira Coin. Users can purchase Ezira or commit to holding their Ezira Coin for a longer time and are able to earn interest on their savings. And they are able to hold more voting power by converting their Ezira Coin into Ezira Power. Ezira Coin is a new type of valuable currency that is secured by its users on their own computers. Users that hold more value on the Ezira network by earning or purchasing Ezira Coin have more voting influence. A certain amount of Ezira Coin is generated every year and divided between everyone that works to help Ezira grow and thrive. Anybody can earn Ezira Coin and manage it using their Ezira account. Nobody except the owner of an account can take or spend its Ezira Coin without permission. Nobody can create new Ezira Coin unless they contribute valuable time and resources to the network. Every owner of Ezira Coin can send them to other people for free almost instantly. If you need to send money privately without everyone seeing where it is going, you can send it to another user secretly using Ezira Stealth. Ezira users can choose whether to use an account that is linked to their real-world identity to create a great reputation, to choose a nickname and post without revealing their real-world identity, or to post without using any name at all. Ezira helps everyone by sharing Ezira Coin widely and fairly. Everybody that already has some of the most important types of digital money will be given a small amount of Ezira, which represents ownership of the network. Holders of this type of money will earn a small amount of all Ezira Coin that are ever created. This is to reward them for owning a piece of the platform. Everybody that uses Ezira each day will earn a small amount of Ezira Coin for being a part of the community. You can upload posts to Ezira of anything you want. You can post pictures, videos, music, books, software, or any other files, and they will be saved and secured. Your posts can be listed on a board for the subject you want to talk about, and can bring people together to make a digital community. You get to choose who will be able to see them. If you select to post it publicly, it will always be available to everyone forever. If you post it privately, only the people you choose can view them. When you upload something, the people that see it can vote on it if they think it's good. The more people see your post and think it's good, the more rewards it will earn. People can even pay you money to unlock a special part of your post that you choose and pay you tips directly if they think it's really good. This lets everybody earn money from their posts without needing to rely on advertisers. Ezira Coin can be used to pay for anything you want to buy. You can buy other types of digital money on Ezira's trading system. You can even make your own new digital money and use it to represent anything you want. You can make a new type of digital money named after your company or your project and sell it to raise funds to help you achieve your goals. Your digital money can then be traded on Ezira by everyone and used to allow your supporters to have a say in your decisions. You can automatically deduct a small amount of all the money you receive and use it to pay rewards to your supporters, or even buy back your money from the exchange to repay them a fixed amount. This lets everybody make and trade their own assets without requiring a big company to act as everybody's middleman. You can buy and sell products on Ezira's marketplace. You can make a special account to represent your business and list products that you want to offer customers. If you want some trustworthy people to secure your purchases, you can pay a small fee and have an independent person act as a middleman for the money, and make sure the trade is done correctly by both people. This makes sure that the buyer and the seller uphold their end of the bargain, without needing a big company to act as everybody's middleman. The community chooses who the representatives of Ezira are. Everyone that holds voting power gets to choose the people that make the network operate. Anyone can become a part of the leading team of Ezira by providing valuable resources to the community and campaigning to be elected. This encourages very skilled people to help Ezira grow and thrive, and rewards them for their important work. This means that anybody from any country can take an active role in the progress and services made available, and that the most passionate, hardworking and skilled people are always able to rise to the top, regardless of the hiring policies and internal politics of any one company. Ezira is different from the other social media networks you are used to. Big social networks are run on powerful computers owned by a single company. They control everyone's information and can access all the private things you store on their websites. They make large amounts of money by using this information to choose which advertisements to show you. They deliberately make the website in such a way that it is proven to maximize the amount of time you spend there, instead of showing you important and valuable content quickly. They usually do not pay you for uploading content, even though you are adding value to their website and earning them money. With Ezira, everybody earns money for contributing to the community, and the files are uploaded and stored securely, so that only you and the people you choose can read them. They are copied, sliced up, and spread out across the world on computers owned by many individuals, so that no one person can access private information without your permission, or stop you from posting content that they disagree with. Your Ezira account can never be banned or suspended from posting, no matter what views and opinions you have. The Ezira platform earns money in a new and fair way. Big social media companies try to keep you watching and browsing for as long as possible, and target ads to cater to every piece of information they have about you. With Ezira, your information is completely private, and promoted posts are targeted only to your public profile information. Everyone at Ezira can purchase a membership to disable promoted posts and support the Ezira network directly. You earn access to account benefits, fee discounts, and increased voting influence. Anyone can promote their posts and gain additional exposure for their content or their business. The digital trading platforms have small trading fees, and special payments can be made for special content payments rather have a small fee. The money that Ezira earns is returned directly to the platform's users by buying Ezira coin, lowering its supply and increasing its price. This increases the earnings of every Ezira user. Cutting-edge technology is used to run Ezira. It allows every user on the platform to be able to see all of the actions that take place, and see the balances of all the people that earn from Ezira. This ensures that the platform is very transparent, and everybody can verify the flow of funds. The account used by the elected leaders of the platform to guide Ezira shows all the payments it sends and receives to everybody. Everybody in Ezira is incentivized to work in the long-term best interest of the platform, and those that are chosen by voters to act as representatives are accountable to all the users all the time. And you can learn more at Ezira.io. Then it goes through to the project roadmap, and I recommend checking out the Ezira outline to read the rest of the project roadmap and see all of the links to the Ezira social media pages. So we'll go back to the Discord. Okay, so we've got Edwin23, who's new to the Ezira Hangout. Welcome, Edwin, and welcome, Farmer, and welcome everybody who is watching us live on YouTube. So does anyone in the chat have any particular questions about the Ezira outline or any other general questions about the Ezira project before we get stuck into some more detailed explanations of other things that the project has been doing?
Yeah, while Farmer is typing his question, I just want to say that every time we go through the the outline here, I think one of the main points that really stand out to me each week is just when I hear about the ability to post that's up there and you get rewarded for, but being able to have subsections of a post that can be locked.
Yeah.
And having the micropayments unlock them. I mean, that's something that should be incorporated into every crypto-based platform that's out there now, even Steam is the one that we use now.
It's absolutely completely possible. It's used to great effect by yours.org, and I think that model is a model to strive for in pretty much every cryptocurrency-based social media platform.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah. So that entire model of having one half of the content or one subset of the content be free for everyone, uploaded publicly to the blockchain, and then have another part of it, the premium part, encrypted, and then that's accessed by buying it using the native cryptocurrency of the platform. That is what enables a lot of the premium content use cases of Ezira by leveraging the model used by yours.org to enable micropayments to be made, except while yours.org uses Bitcoin Cash, it has 1 cent fees, generally about 1 cent transaction fees in the Bitcoin Cash network. The Ezira network will have no transaction fees at all. So then, theoretically, any amount of money, even if it's 1/1,000,000th of a cent or 1 Satoshi worth of Ezira coin, anything is possible to be charged as a premium content payment. So it says Farmer D is typing. You feel free to speak up and ask your question directly, Farmer. No, okay. Do you have any further questions, Dan Power?
At this point, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to the next part, which is going to be the Ezira Explainer video. So just today, Ezira released an explainer video that shows everybody how the Ezira platform is designed to work together by merging blockchain social media with a decentralized exchange and a peer-to-peer marketplace. So what we'll do now is we'll go over to that video and we'll go and take a look at that one there. So that video is called Build Your Next World with Ezira. And we'll take a look at that now. So this video was made with music initially. So there aren't voiceovers, but the next version of this video will be much higher production quality, and it'll have voiceovers. So this is the first iteration of the video that we're going to continue to call Build Your Next World with Ezira. So this is the first iteration made using VideoScribe, and here it is, we'll take it away. So it starts with people are unsatisfied with established social media platforms, and we'll just let it load. Yeah, so it starts with 4 people who are essentially having very common problems with social media. And we'll pause it so we can read that. So the first one says, I don't earn anything from my content. So that's pretty commonplace on the large social media platforms, particularly Facebook and Twitter. There is no built-in way to earn anything for content that's uploaded onto those platforms, and yet they are the biggest in the world. So the next person is saying, I want to have more control over my data. So as we've been seeing with Mark Zuckerberg being brought before the United States Congress and House of Representatives, in the Judicial Committee, he's saying that essentially users are supposed to have control over their data, yet they have no idea when it's being accessed by application developers. There's no compensation for the accessing of the data. It's just handover in a one-time opt-in when you sign in to an application using your Facebook account. So more control over your data is a common complaint of most social media platforms. The next one says, my unpopular opinions are being censored and demonetized. So that one's referring to the widespread demonetization crisis that is plaguing YouTube at the moment, where anyone who tries to say anything that's slightly controversial or not advertiser friendly gets demonetized, so their income stream is cut off in a very guilty until proven innocent kind of fashion, which is acceptable when YouTube is a private company run by Google, because they have the First Amendment right to allow control over what content is on their platform if they take responsibility for it. But Ezira instead will be running with the model of an open and neutral public platform that does not take responsibility for the content and as such does not demonetize or censor any users at all. So the next problem is that someone wants to see better content and less ads. So what you find on a lot of social media platforms today is that, particularly on, again, Facebook and Twitter, there's a lot of content that is generally fairly low quality, and it's generally a large percentage of the content that you see is advertising, because on Facebook and Twitter, you are the product to be sold. Your attention is the commodity that Facebook and Twitter extract and sell to advertisers. So there's a very reasonable argument that people want to see better content and less ads, and that they might be willing to pay for that, but it's vehemently against the business model of Facebook and Twitter to ever remove advertising and just make a purely content-based experience akin to something like a Netflix model where you pay a subscription fee and you get access to high-quality content with no ads. Ezira wants to be the premium social media platform for those who are looking to get an ad-free experience and are willing to pay a subscription fee to access that. So we'll go forward. So the video continues through the text, and I'll read this one. So imagine if there was a social media platform that didn't depend on advertising for revenue, was a global protocol to post freely without censorship, had memberships for premium experiences, encrypted all private user information, hosted on distributed file storage, and had a global permissionless operating team constantly elected by the users. And then it writes out, Ezira is a better solution. So it writes out the fairly popular tagline that I've been using: post anything, trade anything, build anything, which is the operating model of Ezira. That's what we enable anyone to do. Then it writes out the logo with the tagline there. And it fairly quickly and simply describes the key posting features, which are there sorted by user votes instead of black box algorithms, and they receive crypto rewards. It also states that there's a 3-account type system on Ezira, where people can have profile accounts linked to their real world identity, or personas or anonymous accounts. Then it describes decentralized exchanges. So BitShares is the model that Ezira is going to be basing the DEX off of. Then it describes the blockchain mechanics of the global public order book, cryptocurrency payments, and the 3-second transaction time that is iconic of graphene-based platforms like Steam and BitShares, which is what Ezira will be using. Draws out a little diagram there. And then it describes the peer-to-peer marketplace for products and services. So, in addition to the DEX, there'll be the ability for business accounts to make product pages and list products. So it's described social media, DEXs, and peer-to-peer marketplace. Now it's describing the principles of freedom, transparency, and community. So it's very clear to viewers that those are the 3 guiding principles of the Ezira team, the Ezira project. Then it goes in a fairly abstract sense, I'll just pause it there, over the blockchain technology that runs behind it. So it hasn't been talking about blockchain too much until now, so this one's fairly contained to one slide to make sure that it's approachable to a mainstream audience. It describes the posts, votes, transactions and trades in a block, and it describes the blockchain process, obviously, where each one's linked to the one before it. It has the content files in IPFS. It has the cryptocurrency rewards for content, data storage to supernodes, capital to Ezira and Ezira power holders, services to people unelected, reward pools, and the activity reward for everyone, which is essentially a cryptocurrency universal basic income. And then it goes forward through to the Ezira crowd sale, and writes out the Ezira crowd sale is open to all on BitShares, and brings up the logo there. Very important to bring it back to BitShares so that people know where the asset is. The ICO contributors get an allocation of Ezira and access to their Ezira account, and it shows the logo there. Then it directs people to the website and the sign-up process where people can earn 1 Ezira from the Ezira.io faucet that's operating at the moment. And then it directs people to the outline, investment thesis, and white paper to read more going forward. And then it always brings it back to this tagline, which I think is the most powerful. This is really the main call to action, the philosophical drive of Ezira, is to build your next world with Ezira. That's the one that we're going to be really honing on going forward, to really make the case that this is a new economy that we're building here. This is not your parents' social media network. This is something that's going to be fundamentally different from the ground up. So it is the next world that we're aiming to build here. So we'll head back to the Discord channel for anyone who had any questions about the video. What do we think of the video there?
That was really cool. Really good for the first go at it. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how it evolves with voiceovers and stuff.
Yeah, so this is the first iteration, first public release of an Ezira video. I've wanted to make one for quite some time, but I finally got around to it now. So there's the first iteration of the Ezira video. There'll be some changes made, particularly in a voiceover. I do want a voiceover with a voice actress. That'll be going forward in the next release of the video. So I essentially want to bring it out to 2 versions. One of them to be about that length and go in depth to the length that one did, and another one about 2 minutes long that's a bit more focused on the principles of Ezira and with a lot more eye-catching graphics and things like that, and definitely a voiceover. So that'll be the next step going forward. So yeah, that'll be what we do next. But this is the first iteration of the video, so we'll be having this on the top of Ezira.io to introduce people to the project without needing them to go ahead and download a PDF document, which can be a bit time-consuming for some people. So we've brought the learning process down to 4 fairly reasonably eye-catching minutes, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And having you actually read over the video was good. So definitely, I'm looking forward to hearing the voiceovers. That give it some impact.
Yeah. Awesome. So in that case, we'll move on if no one has any more questions. Okay, so we'll move on to the Ezira RSVP thread topics. So these were posted to the Ezira RSVP thread that's made every week on Steemit. So this week the Ezira RSVP thread was on the front page of Steemit trending for quite a few days. because it received a significant community voting support from the Steamer community. Very grateful to the Steamer community for all the support and all the reaching out that they've done for the Ezira project. It's really the core operating model of Ezira is going to be based on the Steam and software platform, and will be share dropping on every holder of Steam. So it's really the crux of where the Ezira project was inspired from, is Steam. And so we're going to be having a lot of the marketing focus based around Steam going forward. So what we'll do is we'll move into the RSVP thread, which was Ezira Hangout number 3. So yeah, this is the post that we make every week that describes the Hangout process and the application process and the time and date, and a short explanation of what Ezira is, linked to making a BitShares account and receiving a free Ezira, and the highest voted entry to the RSVP thread for the Hangout wins 50 Ezira. So that's the highest voted comment. There haven't been too many formal applications with the suggested dimensions of the application here. So what we'll be doing from now on is, instead of requiring the formal application process, that'll just go to the highest voted comment, which in this week's case is a completely reasonable winner. And a random participant in the discussions, that's one of the people in the chat, will win an additional 50 Ezira today. So anyone who's here for the first time, who posts their BitShares address after the Hangout, will receive an additional Ezira for helping to build out the community. And describe some of the Ezira projects share drop there, which I'll go on to a bit later. It's got the last week's video. It's got the guide for the ICO, which I'll be going through in a moment. And the highest voted comment this week is, so this is a difficult to pronounce name, I'll go for it. It's a Hiro Yamagishi. Yep, I'll stick with that. And he said, looks great project. I will check the Discord chat and see how is it going. I will take this as additional information and not a financial advice. Thanks. So thank you for replying, and you will be winning the 50 Ezira for the highest rated comment. Even though it's not a formal post application, we'll be dishing that out for the highest rated comment from now on. So if anyone wants to make a formal topic request, just fill out the details that were listed in the thread and make a comment, and the highest voted correctly made application will be featured and discussed on the show. So then we've got one from Transparency Bot, and he's described that this post used some bid bots to promote it. Yep, that's correct. So the Ezira project did use some voting bid bots to get additional exposure for the project, because it is a very cost-effective way to improve exposure for the project, and I've responded to that bot in time about the use of bid bots there. So we've got someone that says, sounds great, new place for investment, great initiative to share views, but can we expect our data that we're giving to be safe? So that's a very important question that we'll get onto, which was mentioned in the RSVP thread topic slide. So I read through this previously. So some topics for this week are the Steam bid bots. So yeah, as I said before, the post does use Steam bid bots to get additional exposure. And yeah, we're transparent about that. I replied to the comments, that's definitely the case. The data safety on Ezira. So on Ezira, the platform will be storing user data on distributed file storage hosted by super nodes for the network. So there'll be IPFS nodes that will hold user information in a sharded and encrypted way, so that only you with the private key to your account will be able to decrypt that information. And you will optionally be able to give people access to the decryption key for your information when you connect to their account. So you exchange decryption keys to your private information when you connect accounts, and that's essentially like becoming someone's friend, as you give them the decryption key to your profile information, and they do the same for you so that you can read each other's profile information and send them messages. That's how Ezira's going to run at the technical level there. So data is not stored on a big central server like Facebook or Twitter where the company has access to all of your information. It's instead stored across many different computers, and none of them have a complete copy of it, and even if they did get a complete copy of it, it's encrypted pending the decryption using your private key, which you own and control. So you have a lot more control over your data, and only the people that you specifically allow to see your profile information will be able to use it. And what that also means is that, this is an important point, no advertisers will be able to use your private information no matter how much they pay the Ezira network, because the platform literally will not have access to your private information. It will be encrypted and out of our hands, and only in the hands of those that you connect to. Cannot make that clear enough. Data that you put onto it will be held in such a secure way that no one except you on the entire planet, essentially, or the people you give the key to, will be able to access it by design. So going back to the thread, and we've got someone saying that it's interesting. I'm always looking for new places to invest in the crypto space, and we'll check it out. Thanks. So that's Blue Horseshoe. Thank you for your comment there. So OrDosJC has said this information is very valuable for investors, entrepreneurs. What remains is to try to focus to succeed. Thanks for sharing. So then we move on to the third topic that I identified for this week, and this is Master Roshi, and he said, "I'll wait until news of a mainnet is out. Personally, I never invest in ICO, especially when they are so far from implementing their use case. You don't need millions to develop a beta platform. Most of that money is spent on advertising or on board members. I believe if you build the platform, then let people use it before a crowd sale is a good business model, otherwise it's not attractive to me. This is the route I'm taking for my platform. No coins will be sold until we have at least a working product for the token to perform as a utility with." So, Master Roshi, I'll just address your concerns there. So the Ezira project is raising 500,000 USD, and that's the bare minimum that is necessary to develop the functional testnet. So we're not making a simple project here. This is going to be a very complex engineering undertaking from a software perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a development perspective, and the money that is being raised in this ICO is absolutely necessary to the development of this project. It would not be possible without that. I simply don't have the talent at my disposal without these funds to develop the Ezira project. So to say that it's a good idea to raise money after you have a working platform is all fine and good, but you do need to have funds available to build it first. So I agree with the sentiment, but in this case it is necessary that Ezira does do a preliminary ICO for 500,000 before the main ICO, once there is a working product. So you'll see in a few months that when Ezira does release the testnet, then the main ICO will complete from there. So that's what I've essentially answered in my response there. The next person has said, "I don't have a BitShares account, but I think the Ezira project looks promising. Need to keep an eye on it." So a BitShares account is very easy to make. You can go to OpenLedger or BitShares wallet and make one for free in under 20 seconds. It really doesn't take long, and it's not very difficult. So yet another interactive platform where individuals get the chance of participating in constructive discussions. Yeah, that's the idea behind Ezira, to enable everyone to share information and value freely, where not only can you have constructive discussions, you can also build communities around those discussions and financially collaborate with people from anywhere around the world using cryptocurrency through all of the mechanisms that are going to be available to Ezira users. So someone has said, "It seems good project for this platform. I am interesting Ezira," so I've got some interesting spelling there. With the Ezira picture, thank you for your answer there. It is a great idea, like mixture of Facebook and Steemit, where you can join and earn. Yep, that's essentially two of the platforms whose feature sets will be made available on the Ezira network. So I've got a few more going down there, we've got my link to the previous Ezira Hangout video, which was commented there, where anyone can like and retweet that for a free bit share. If you don't have an account, that's a good way to get started. We then have a kitten drinking some water, very cute indeed. And from there, we go into some other posts that are a bit less relevant from there. So we'll bring it back to the Discord to continue the discussion. So yeah, what does everyone think about the questions that were raised by the comments on Steam and to the RSVP thread? Particularly, the ones that stood out to me were the concerns about raising the money before delivering the working product, and the other one about voting bots used on Steam. What do we think about that as a way to boost the visibility of the Ezira project? And what do we think about the other question that was raised, which was regarding the way that Ezira would work, essentially?
I mean, when it goes back to the fundraising part,
Yeah.
I understand his point, but it sounds, the way he wrote the question sounds like he's a tech.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you don't have the ability to build out a working testnet yourself, you obviously have to pay developers to do it, so you need to raise funds in some way.
Yeah, yeah. It's critical to understand that while a lot of projects raise massive amounts of money in the order of like double-digit millions of dollars before they have a working product, the Ezira network has got a very ambitious white paper, and we're going to be starting with the bare bones minimum of $500,000, which is the absolute bare minimum that it could be done on. I'm aiming to raise a low amount of money first, make sure that that is applied properly to build the testnet, and then deliver a working product as soon as is physically possible. So to address the other question, which was about the Steam voting bots, do any of you guys have any experience with using those?
I have way back when I first started using Steemit.
Yeah.
I haven't in recent months, but I'm not doing any kind of product development where I have something that I need to actually promote.
Yeah.
But I do see both sides of the argument. People just see them as bots and money collecting. But the point is, if they're being used for project promotion, then they're no different than doing the advertising, promote my content over on Facebook.
Yeah.
People see it as, oh, the post is making 500 now, you got the trending, but they don't understand that that doesn't all go back in your pocket. You actually had to spend some of your own hours in Steam.
It required a payment up front first to the voting bots. So it is a very cost-effective way to promote the project, because of the fact that it can be possible to be fairly revenue positive out of the promotion, and on the order of hundreds of views. That's better than any other platform. So Steam is delivering a very positive advertising return on investment for the Ezira project, as I hope that is fairly clear to see for everyone here.
So if you see the post, you know it works.
Yeah. I'd rather put a few hundred Steam dollars in cryptocurrency into a platform that I know and love, Steemit, rather than put the same amount of money into the gaping black hole of Facebook and Twitter, which have both been heavily restrictive of the promotion that the Ezira network can do. So I really don't want to give them any more money than I really need to. So I'd much rather keep the money in cryptocurrency where it belongs than fork it out to Twitter or Facebook for promotion that is arguably less valuable to the Ezira project, because it's simply so crypto focused. It's not really possible to gain an appreciation from a crypto literate audience on Twitter and Facebook without having massive use of targeting, which is antithetical to what the Ezira project stands for. So that's what I've done there. Tried to be as crypto positive as I can be in the promotion of the network, and I hope that that's fairly transparent to everyone. Do you have a question, Farmady? So does anyone have any more questions? What's your question? Okay, so I'll just read out what he's got here. It sounds really great. Just curious how Ezira will deal, if at all, with trolls. Very, very good question. I love the open freedom. Can and will Ezira deal with hate speech? I know people who suffer from hateful comments on Twitter and Facebook. Have you given any thought to this? Freedom of speech is so important, which it is, but hate speech can really ruin a user's experience. This is a complex philosophical question, I know, but an important one in my honest opinion. So that's a fantastic question. So Ezira will be dealing with trolls through a wide variety of mechanisms. So users will have the complete freedom to filter posts by the user who posts them. They'll be able to filter posts that contain any keywords, and we'll be adopting the Gab model. So if any of you guys are familiar with Gab.ai, they have extensive self-filtering features that allow users to choose keywords or tags or people that are filtered out from the user experience. Another thing that we'll be able to deal with trolls particularly is Ezira's adoption of the yours.org feature, which is the option to have a payment required to make a comment to a post. So that's a feature on yours.org that is very powerful at creating a cost for making a comment to a post. So it really discourages low value or troll responses, because every time a troll responds to you with something inflammatory, they're actually just paying you money, and you can quite easily ignore them for that. So the cost to make a comment is an option for those who find themselves under some flack from trolls. Going on to the next point, can or will Ezira deal with hate speech? So as Mark Zuckerberg said and testified before Congress a few days ago, there is no easy way to define hate speech. So what one person thinks is hate speech, another person might disagree about what's hate speech. It's also very language specific. So there's no way for Ezira on a wide scale to deal with hate speech, especially if we're trying to be an open platform. So we'll be relying on users to use self-censorship mechanisms, like filtering out users by posts and keywords and things like that, to deal with hate speech. But for things that are in violation of international law, what there will be is tags that can be applied by users to indicate that content is in a specific category. So those are listed in the Ezira white paper, what those categories are going to be by default, in addition to other ones that are created. So when a post applies to a specific category, whether it's direct incitement of violence, direct incitement of self-harm, content that is not safe for work when it's not marked as not safe for work, it's things like that, they'll be able to be tagged with specific tags, and some of those are hardline tags which will be filtered from the application by default. So because Ezira is going to be using a blockchain to store its posts and user information, there'll be no way to directly censor the posts, but there will be ways to, in the application interface level, filter those out from the user experience, whether it's from a user's choice or from specific ones that are going to be implemented by default for use by board moderators to filter out things that are in violation of international laws and things like that. So yeah, it is a fairly complex philosophical question, and it's really difficult to define what hate speech is, but I think I'll give it a go, which was something that Mark Zuckerberg wasn't willing to do. But to me, in my opinion, and in for the most part the opinion of the Ezira project going forward, hate speech is something that a user identifies as being directly insightful of violence or discrimination on the basis of something that that person is not in direct control of. So something that's not in a person's control, and an incitement of violence or derision from something that's not in their control. So that's what, to me at least, hate speech is, and users will be able to deal with hate speech by filtering out users that that say things that each person does not approve of, and by if the post is direct incitement of violence, by tagging it with the incitement tag, which will have it once approved by a moderator on the board it's posted on, and with a certain threshold of votes and voting power, it'll be filtered with a tag and filtered from the user interface and not visible in the mainstream application. So going on to the next question from Saurav Ganguly. Very true, but Ezira being a social media platform needs to reach the general public. I think today when people have become aware of the risks of using platforms like Facebook, it's the right time to put up the idea to non-tech and crypto-neutral people. So you're absolutely right. So Ezira is going to be aiming to bring the social media experience of Facebook using the model of Steemit to be storing the data so that it doesn't need to be managed by one central company with a central point of failure and the complex issues that are incumbent upon a platform that is being pulled and gnawed at by teeth in every direction. Because on one hand, so bringing it back to the Facebook argument, on one hand Facebook is skirting the boundaries of being a common carrier where they allow anyone to post anything to the platform, but they're not responsible for it. And the other side, they're claiming that they're a First Amendment private corporation with the right to censor and take responsibility for things on their platform. And you find that Mark Zuckerberg particularly was skirting between the two when it was convenient to him. So he didn't really, he wasn't too solid on whether Facebook was a First Amendment private corporation or whether it was a public platform where he wasn't responsible for the content. He was taking a merged approach, which isn't sustainable at scale, because they're going to be pulled at by one direction who says you should censor more things, and then they're going to be pulled at by the other direction saying no, you shouldn't censor anything. And there's always going to be conflict if you're trying to be both. So Ezira is not going to try to be both. Ezira will be a distributed social media and business platform that is a neutral, apolitical, and completely internationalized protocol for social media communication for everyone on the planet. That's what Ezira is aiming to be. Something that Facebook cannot be, because they're beholden to the interests of the US government, the interests of their advertising corporate sponsors. We're going to essentially free the social media users of the world from the shackles that they've been held in platforms like Twitter and Facebook, because we'll be taking the mechanism of information transport out of the hands of one central company and putting it into the hands of everyone collectively in the network. So does anyone have any more questions? I feel like we got some pretty good questions there. We've got Sarah saying, also things like fake news needs to be handled. Can machine learning algorithms be used for problems like this? So to address that question there, Sarah, fake news, again, like hate speech, is often, again, in the eyes of the beholder. So Ezira will be having a tag called hashtag false for the application to any content that makes statements of fact that are objectively false. So fact checkers from the network will be able to vote to apply this tag to a post, and if a certain threshold of people apply this tag to a post, it'll be marked and indicated as something that might have questionable content, or content that might be of a dubious nature, in that it's believed by many people with sufficient voting power to contain aspects that are incorrect or false and intended for misinformation purposes. So that's we're going to be allowing users to crowdsource amongst themselves and using their voting power the judgment as to whether something is false or not, because it's not possible for any computer algorithm to get it right 100% of the time. It's not possible for any person to get it right 100% of the time, and it's also not right in any sense of the word to be filtering content based on one person's belief as to whether it's a fact or not, and whether any element of it is false. So there's the opportunity for people to make mistakes without being branded fake news. There's the ability for people to update their content as it goes forward, and they get new information. So the way forward is going to be people themselves governing the content, and a notification but not a filter of whether it's disputed in fact or not. So to Udezi, is there a live chat? Yes, there is. So if you join the discussion section of the voice channel, you'll be able to hear all of our voices. But yeah, so I'll type that out because he won't be able to hear me if he's not in here. Okay, so moving forward on to the next element of today's hangout, which is going to be the crowdfunding guide. So what I'll do is I'll take everyone through the process of contributing to the Ezira crowdfunding campaign. So it's really straightforward to make a contribution to the Ezira network and support the most comprehensive platform for value and information communication that has, in my opinion, ever been devised. So if you can find anything that's more democratic and more fair and accountable to the users, I'm interested to hear about it. So I'll go through the crowdfunding campaign here, and it goes by directly addressing the BitShares is the platform that Ezira is trading on. So every BitShares based exchange, that includes OpenLedger, that includes CryptoBridge, it includes many other DEXs that operate. There's the BitShares wallet implementation from the BitShares core team. All of those BitShares blockchain exchanges will allow you to buy Ezira from the exchange. So it's very simple. All you need to do is to create a BitShares account. We recommend OpenLedger for the best interface, and that's another thing. BitShares as a platform is by far the best exchange to run an ICO on, because it allows instantaneous liquidity. It allows everyone to find the market price for purchasing Ezira. If they want to sell out early, they can sell out with a sell order. There's no lock-up times for anyone who makes a contribution to Ezira. There's no waiting for it to be listed on exchanges. It's already trading right now. So it explains what BitShares is, what OpenLedger is, and then anyone can make a contribution by going to the Buy Ezira button here on the BitShares Ezira website to make a purchase on the BitShares exchange. So we've raised in excess of $25,000, and the count continues to climb every day. And this sale is hard capped at $500,000. So there's a fairly low hard cap. So it's critical that everyone who wants to get a piece of Ezira early at this discounted preliminary ICO price, that they make their contributions before the cap is reached, because there will be no more Ezira sold until the main ICO, which is going to be after the release of the testnet. So it's very easy to create a BitShares account. All that's needed is to go to OpenLedger. You create an account. It's important to use the wallet model instead of the cloud account model. The cloud account model is not as user friendly, and it doesn't keep your private keys very safe. It relies on storing a generated password in a password saving application, which is not quite as secure as keeping the file on your computer. So I recommend to use the wallet model. I'm sure there are people who would disagree with that, but I have always used the wallet model. To enter your public account name, to make your BitShares address, and to back up your wallet file on your computer in a safe place, and particularly on other mechanisms of storage, so that if it's wiped, that you can back it up. So if the page does not load change to a new API node, it's quite simple to resolve that issue that's been coming up with a few people. You simply switch to a new API node. Then you deposit the cryptocurrency of your choice. It can be BitShares, it can be Bitcoin or Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash or BitShares, purchase from an exchange, or any other coin that is traded on BitShares. You don't have to use those ones. You can sell any other coin and use that to purchase Ezira as well. So for the best price, you will need to sell your crypto for BitUSD by going to the market pair for BitUSD. And for those who don't know what BitUSD is, it's a smart coin which is backed by collateral in BitShares, 200% collateral. and it tracks the price of a US dollar. So there are 4 other main markets that Ezira is liquid against, because the Ezira platform is trading against those on the DEX with some offers for limit orders for Ezira on those market pairs. You can go with either Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, or BitShares if you don't want to go through BitUSD. So if you do go through BitUSD, then simply go to the trading pair and find the Ezira asset by typing in Ezira to the custom markets or find markets button and create a buy order there for the price of 50 cents per unit. And simply by doing that buy order there, you can become an Ezira holder in under 2 minutes. And there are reward tiers for everyone who holds at least 10 is a silver Eziran. Every holder of at least 100 Ezira will be a gold Eziran, and 1,000 is a platinum Eziran, and 10,000 of which there are 3 diamond Ezirans are the highest contributors to the Ezira network, which get 6 months of free membership according to the level of stake that they hold in the initial release of the blockchain. So in the main ICO there will be a reverse Dutch auction starting at $30 to sell an additional 2 million Ezira. That's going to be when there is a working product. The main fundraising will be developed to do a lot of heavy testing to get some rigorous oversight and auditing onto the Ezira code to make sure it's very safe and sound. This preliminary ICO finishes on the 1st of September 2018, or when all units are sold out. So there are 1 million Ezira to be sold, and if all of them are sold out, that is the end of the preliminary ICO, or if the time hits the 1st of September, that is the final date at which we'll be having the preliminary ICO. If the funds are not raised by then, the remainder of the preliminary funds will be retained and sold at the main ICO price. So you can join over 140 holders of Ezira and take part in the preliminary ICO today. It's very simple. Anyone with a BitShares account can do it. And if you don't have a BitShares account, you can make one on Ezira.io. And if you sign up to the Ezira mailing list, you will receive a free Ezira to your new account or to any account on the BitShares blockchain. So these are the ICO reward tiers. So there's 6 months of membership to each level of contribution for silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. And there's a share drop bonus associated with the larger levels of contribution. So to all of the holders of large amounts of BitShares or Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or any of the other share drop currencies, you can make a significant increase to the amount you receive in the share drop by contributing to the campaign to receive a share drop bonus on the amount that you earn from your existing holdings. Everyone with at least some level of Ezira will have an initial Ezira account, and those with higher levels of contribution will have access to a larger number of accounts to be created into the Genesis block. So that's the first block of the network. There will be varying levels of accounts that are reserved by people who contribute significant quantities to the crowdfunding campaign at this early stage. And it goes all the way up to a diamond Eziran, which is 5,000 USD worth of Ezira. You will have your post of your choice created and launched in the Genesis block. So you can create a piece of Ezira history with a diamond Eziran level of contribution to the ICO. So to all BitShares holders, this project will be share dropping on BitShares. So it's a definite project to consider contributing to if you're looking to make an appreciation to the price of BitShares. And this will be taking a much more marketing heavy approach to the launch of a decentralized exchange, which as it uses graphene will be cross-chain compatible with the BitShares DEX, so there will be significant liquidity opportunities for trading between the BitShares and Ezira DEX. And the Ezira DEX will be looking to bring in massive amounts of new business owners that will be very interested to create a publicly tradable crypto equity or crypto asset to represent their business in a click of a couple of buttons for free. I'm sure that'll be very interesting to a lot of business owners around the world, that they can publicly float their company with a few clicks for free. So that trading volume will be cross-chain compatible with BitShares because it will be using Graphene. So this is a significant liquidity provider to the BitShares exchange. So to all holders of BitShares that might be listening, this is absolutely the most BitShares friendly project that you will find in the entire ecosystem. So there's different assets, different specifications. So there'll be 10 million Ezira created, and in this preliminary issuance there will be 1 million sold at a price of 50 cents each. It goes into some frequently asked questions, and that's pretty much the crowdfunding guide. So shout out to the top Ezira stakeholders, those with over 10,000. Thank you for your ongoing support of the network. To iHashFury, who's a Diamond Eziran, SL Bamba with 10,000 Ezira, and to BitShares 2010 with 10,000 Ezira. Thank you to our largest stakeholders. I cannot show enough appreciation to the flowing of support that we've received from the community. But unfortunately, we do need to raise 500,000 bare minimum to develop the platform in any significant capacity. So there are 137 days remaining for people to make their ICO contributions and help us build the most powerful crypto economic and social media platform that has the power to displace Facebook, to displace Twitter, to displace stock exchanges around the world. Everyone who's used BitShares knows that that software could not only replace the stock market, it could replace every stock market in the entire world today if the software was implemented and scaled with the right infrastructure. That's the only software today that has the capacity to replace the stock market with an on-chain exchange. And Ezira wants to take that model and extend it to the world at large. So we'll bring it back to the Discord chat, where we'll move on to the next topic. So the next topic for today is the community competition week 1 winners. So last week on the Ezira Hangout, we announced the April community competition. So that was a competition that would run over the course of the week, and the winner of the competition would be winning 300 Ezira for the post of an Ezira use case infographic with the highest amount of likes and retweets. So to give everyone the maximum possible amount of time to make those posts onto Twitter and Facebook, we'll be announcing the winner live on air. So we'll go through and go and find the winner of that one there. So every post was required to tag Ezira Network. So what I'll be doing to find the winner is going through the responses to the Ezira Twitter account, and those with the most likes and retweets will be winning, and I'll get in touch with them after the show to deliver their Ezira to them. So here we go. We have up first, 32 minutes ago, we have Gurpreet, who said, "This is my favorite, why should I use Ezira? Ezira will be a great platform to share new scientific and groundbreaking ideas, collecting funds for its implementation, and then producing the results for the world to see." A great response there from Gurpreet. Thank you for participating. So a few more down through here. Then we had, going down a bit further, a few days ago now, we have one from Saurav Ganguly. Ezira could help developers in the following ways. A developer could get rewards for his open source contributions without having to promote himself on Patreon. That's absolutely right. It could replace present freelancing marketplaces. Yep, so if anyone is a developer that's listening, Ezira is actively seeking developers, both front-end and back-end, to build a development team for the construction of the Ezira platform. And developers are essentially the core of the Ezira platform, and will be rewarding developers with an ongoing allocation of the Ezira coin distribution. So according to votes for developers, they will receive a piece of 5% of the ongoing Ezira coin allocation from the blockchain. So Sarav's post has 8 retweets and 8 likes, so he's currently in the lead. So we have Sarav in the lead at the moment. And going down a bit further, we have a few more responses. We have Serbi with his reply. Ezira Network, this is my favorite graphic of why should I use Ezira. It shows that it's a very simple and profitable way to use the Ezira Marketplace store, and also there's no need to borrow money from anyone. It's time to show your unstoppable talent just like Allison did. Okay, so Serbi has got 15 retweets and 15 likes, so now Serbi is in the lead, and he made his post on the 9th of April. So for all these competitions, it's definitely a good idea to get your responses out early so that you have the longest time to promote it and get retweets and likes on your post. So Serbi is now in the lead. And we have one from CashDex, and CashDex has said that they like the Laura infographic the best. So this is one of the infographics we did. So it says, meet Laura, she's an independent journalist. Laura loves breaking big stories to her followers to keep them informed. Laura uploads her reports and live streams to Ezira. Her followers appreciate her insight and integrity. She earns Ezira coin for producing great content. She makes a subscription asset to enable her followers to watch all of her premium live reports for $5 a month. She reveals a massive cover-up, her story reaches the featured page, and her audience multiplies. Now she speaks truth to power. Build your next world with Ezira. So the independent journalist is a massive use case of Ezira, where there will be no censorship and no corporate advertising necessary to make a return for your work. So it's ideal for anyone who's in the business of exposing the established order of society and bringing out the truth from the darkness, essentially. Ezira is built first and foremost to enable everyone to share information and value freely, and sometimes the most important information that needs to be shared is the information that other people don't want you to know. So that's why Ezira is uncensorable by design on a blockchain, and does not require any corporate sponsorship to make an advertising return on investment, because you can earn content rewards, premium content rewards from people buying your content, and you can also earn tips from people who really appreciate your work. And if you make your content available on the Ezira Premium Partners program, you give every Ezira member the ability to access some of it according to the balance of their membership, some of that content for free each month, and you earn a share of their membership payment rather than a direct premium payment. So that's a bulk approach to premium content that Ezira will be using, and you can read more about that in the Ezira white paper. So going down, it looks like this is going down a few more to the last hangout. So I think that's all of the posts that have been made on Twitter. So now what we'll do is we'll go check the Ezira Facebook and see if anyone has beaten Serbi's response of 16 likes and 16 retweets. So who will win? Let's see if anyone has responded to Ezira on Facebook. So we'll go to the mentions part of this one here. So that's not the part where it is. It's under mentions. Where have they hidden this one? Yep. Facebook user interface, everyone. Where could mentions be? I guess it doesn't look like anyone's replied to the Ezira page through Facebook here, so there's not any mentions coming up. So most of those were looks like on Twitter. So we'll bring it back to the Discord. So it looks like Serby is our winner for today with 16 likes and 16 retweets. So congratulations to Serby, if you're listening over the next few days. Congratulations to Serby, he wins 300-0. And so now what I'll do is decide who to give the other 100-0 prizes to. So going by the responses, I think they should go to... so Serby is our winner there with this post. Of Allison's infographic, and there was another one, Saurav. Saurav has responded, and with 8 likes and retweets, Saurav is in 2nd place. So Saurav's got a lot of good points here. It could definitely replace Patreon in this case, of getting open source contributions without a Patreon, because the Ezira network will be directly funding developers who make public commits onto the network. So I think Saurav wins 2nd place, a prize of 100-0. And going back a little bit further, we get to Gurpreet. So Gurpreet wins another prize of 100-0 for her response with, "This is my favorite, why should I use Ezira? To be a great platform for new scientific and groundbreaking ideas." And she goes on to describe the results. And Gurpreet, I think, wins the other 100-0 prize. So give that a like and a retweet there. So Gurpreet, congratulations, you win the other 100-0. So I'll mention those in Telegram, where I think we'll be able to find those people a little bit more readily. And we'll be dishing out the 300-0 to Serby, and 100-0 each to Gurpreet and to Saurav there. So congratulations to everyone who participated. And the next part of the Ezira competition for the 2nd week of the release is going to be a little bit different. So the second part, so the competition from now on is going to be users can post a link to a snippet. The Ezira YouTube channel is going to be uploading snippets of these Hangouts, so important segments that have been the most impactful to the discussion, making those into segments so people can post a link to their favorite Hangout segment and explain a little bit about why they like that segment. And the one that gets the most likes and retweets there will win 300-0, and there'll be another 100-0, and so 2 prizes of 100-0 will be delivered to the 2nd and 3rd place winners there, according to the creativeness of their description for why they like that segment the most. So we'll be bringing the Ezira Hangout discussions down to some shorter videos for sharing and posting around social media, because 1 hour is a bit too long for most people to be able to sit down and watch everything. So we'll be making that into some more bite-sized chunks for everybody to get a bit more of a succinct picture. So going back onto the topic, we have next up is the featured application, which is decentralized film production. So we'll move on to that one there. And that is this one here. So, film studios as Ezira businesses. So an independent film company would be able to create an Ezira business account and sell an asset on the Ezira Dex to raise funds for a feature-length movie. Film production assets. Each film production company's asset would be programmed to be bought back from the decentralized exchange with incoming revenue from premium content sales of movie downloads. So they're uploaded as premium content. People might pay, for example, 50 cents or $1, depending on the price charged there, to download a movie from the Ezira network. So that's hosted on IPFS nodes, so that's very fast. It comes in essentially a torrent-like stream to the viewers there, and they pay a small fee to decrypt the file once they've received it. So that might be 50 cents or $1, or a particularly high budget movie could charge anything on the order of $5 to $10. It depends on what their users are willing to pay. So those revenue sources would be able to be used to buy and burn the asset, to buy it up off the exchange, and additionally rewards from a free version of the post made, say, a month later, could be used to earn content rewards, and use those funds to purchase back the asset as well. So it'll have distributed returns. The value of a film production asset would increase when the business earns a profit on the funds used to make the film. So, for example, if a movie studio wanted to raise, say, $10 million to make a big blockbuster feature-length movie, they might need a little bit more than $10, but just for example, $10 million, they would raise that in cryptocurrency funds on the decentralized exchange by promoting the movie and what it's going to be about, or maybe something like the script could be used to promote investment in the movie. And instead of going to a big, powerful Hollywood production company, they'd instead be able to turn to the Ezira community with cryptocurrency, who would purchase the asset as an investment in the production of the movie. The company would then use the funds to hire actors and hire producers and hire directors and sets and costumes and things like that, and everything that's necessary to make a feature-length movie. They'd make it over a period of time, post updates regularly on the progress to their supporters, and make the movie available to everyone to watch, and they could potentially accept that asset as a payment for the premium content, so they could have a discount rate for people using their production company token to purchase the premium content of the movie itself. So there might be a 1 month time period where the price of the movie is something on the order of $5 or $10 to those who are very keen to see it, and then the price could decrease each week. Instead of just having a fixed ticket price to cinemas, they could have a high price at the start, and people would watch it sooner if they were willing to pay more, or they might wait a bit longer if they aren't willing to pay as much. So instead of having to pay $18, $20, or it'd probably be a bit less in the US, but in Australia it's 18 to 20 Australian dollars to go and see a movie. You would download it from the IPFS network as it's been uploaded. So this is not only a disruption to the movie company business model, it also allows everybody to create movies without the oversight of a large producing corporation that has specific political interests at heart, and would enable everyone to start their own movie production business, so that we could see a much wider variety of movies created that aren't just filmed, made, produced, and acted by people who happen to live in a place called Hollywood in the US. So that'd be a big game changer for the implementation of this on Ezira, and it's one of the leading use cases that will be featured in the application and business case, which will be released in the next few weeks or so when that's finished. So we'll bring it back to the Discord. So does anyone have any questions or comments about the decentralized film production model? So raising funds with some sort of initial movie offering or IMO or initial production coin offering to hype up the production of a movie. It would be a much better model than crowdfunding it through Kickstarter or something like that, because those who actually invest in the movie would receive a significant portion of the profits generated by the movie. So instead of large companies in Hollywood making hundreds of millions of dollars from AAA titles, you would be able to decentralize the model, put more people in control, have more movies. It's critical that we have more movies. These production companies only have a limited amount of money to spend making movies. So if we can increase the amount of money available to make movies, we would see more of them made, and with a wider variety and with some potentially different storylines, because there'd be more opportunity for experimenting. A lot of movies don't like to take risks. They like to follow franchises or go with sequels and prequels because those are safe investments. When you treat a movie as an investment, it's difficult to have creative freedom because you're depending on being able to return that investment to a large company that's going to be breathing down your neck the whole time. When you have a wider community, you can be a lot more experimental in the creativity with the production of movies. You can increase the amount of funding available by an order of magnitude by utilizing the idle capital capacity of the world to make movies that would never be made by Hollywood, that wouldn't need to take money from companies like 21st Century Fox or Paramount Pictures or Marvel Studios. There would be tens to hundreds of different independent studios all making their own movies on Ezira, and those with an Ezira premium subscription to either the gold or diamond or platinum level would get an allocation of free premium content to watch from Ezira's premium partners. So that'd be on the order of 50 to 150 to 500 US dollars worth of free content per month, and that number is subject to change as a witness parameter, of course. So members get a free allocation each month, so they would be able to access movies that are created by these Ezira movie production companies. So it's one major use case that I think Ezira really serves well as the combination between decentralized social media, decentralized exchange, and peer-to-peer marketplace. Those three things merged together is what we need to build the next world. It's what we need to build the cryptocurrency economy, and it's what we need to move away from the legacy economy that causes so many problems in the world today. So that's the decentralized film production featured application for today. So we'll see if anyone has any questions. So does anyone have any questions, thoughts, or comments about that one there? So if there's no questions about that one, we'll move on to the Ezira share drop summary. So the Ezira network will be having a share drop. So this is a very important factor that differentiates Ezira from every other crypto project that you've ever seen before, because Ezira will be share dropping not on just one currency, but on 10 different cryptocurrencies. So this is designed to get the widest possible audience of people who will hold Ezira at the Genesis block. So we'll be putting cryptocurrency into the hands of millions of people, and we'll be putting a financial stake in the hands of millions of existing cryptocurrency holders with this share drop. So it's not an airdrop, which is given out for free. It's a share drop which is allocated to those who are already holding large amounts of cryptocurrency. So to continue, Ezira share dropping on 10 different cryptocurrencies. All holders of balances in several coins will receive a small amount of Ezira upon mainnet launch. This can be used to vote for posts of witnesses and earn Ezira coin dividends for use on the platform. users can import their existing wallet keys. Existing private keys can be imported into the open source client-side wallet to generate a transaction to claim their share drop allocation. This will be fully replay protected, and the wallet will not communicate with any Ezira servers to generate and sign the claiming transaction. The Ezira wallet in the Ezira Node client will offer wallets for transactions with all 10 supported share drop coins. This will allow users to import their wallet into Ezira and use them on a light wallet client. So any balances that are imported into the Ezira wallet can be spent directly from the client on those networks using a light wallet interface. And those coins will be BitShares, Steam, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Core, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Dash, Monero, Litecoin, and Zcash. So that's an important part of the Ezira project is the share drop. So everyone that already holds cryptocurrency of many different kinds will be receiving a piece of Ezira upon mainnet launch. But in order to get more than a very small nominal amount, it's critical that people take a stake in the Ezira network at the preliminary ICO stage, where they can get Ezira for 50 US cents each, and have access to the network effect that will be generated by this large-scale share drop. So we'll move on to the general questions and answers. So does anyone have any questions and answers for general discussion today? Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up there. We've got quite a lot there that we've covered. So in that case, what we'll do is pretty much finish up the Ezira Hangout there. So in that case, we'll finish up the Ezira Hangout week 3 there. So tune in next week at the same time, 1 PM UTC, to see all of the Ezira project updates that will be happening over the course of the next week, to see the winners of the Ezira Community Challenge announced for week 2. So that'll be segments of these Hangouts. We'll put those into small videos, and people will be able to choose their favorite segment, and the one that gets the most likes and retweets will earn 300 Ezira. So for today, that's the Ezira Hangout week 3 wrapped up. And thank you to everyone for tuning in, and good night.